Okay, so I think let's go with the big headlines. JJ Redick, year one, LeBron and Bronny. What do we expect?
Yeah, well, tonight you can expect Ken Griffey Jr. and Ken Griffey Sr. to be in the stands when LeBron and Bronny make their debut as teammates officially. There's no plan that's been publicized about when or how they'll be out on the floor together. Technically, maybe they wouldn't be out on the floor together because they haven't said, but you got to expect, with all the expectations of the fans, the franchise, LeBron himself, and the Griffeys being in town, that we will see the two of them out on the floor together. It's going to be interesting long term to see how JJ Redick manages all of those expectations during the preseason. We had fans in every venue they went to, on the road, at home, calling for Bronny in the third quarter if he hadn't played. Other players hear that. JJ's going to hear that. It'll be interesting to see how much Bronny plays with the big team, how much he plays in the G League. But JJ Redick has, at least so far, shown an ability to manage all of that. And he's really made steps with the team in a few other directions, too. Last year, we heard players complaining about uncertainty, guys not knowing exactly what their roles were, the lineup changing so much, the game plans changing so much. JJ has preached organization since the moment he got there, very clearly defined conversations with the guys. This is what I want you to do. This is what you can rely on. This is around the minutes I expect you to play. So guys have really opened up to that, and they just feel a little bit more stable. Also, he said at his opening press conference, I believe in math. And we know what that means. That means 3 is more than 2. Yeah. The Lakers were the third lowest team in terms of taking three-point shots last season. JJ, of course, as a former three-point shooter himself, has a very different attitude. We've already seen them improve and increase that in the preseason, and I would expect more of that this year, too.
Okay, Boston trying to do something hasn't been done, since the Warriors. They should be favorites. I haven't felt any turbulence in the offseason. I mean, Porzingis' health is something you monitor. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, look, we don't expect to necessarily see Porzingis until 2025. And guess what? Hasn't mattered for this team at all. They had a historic pace that they were winning at last year. And some of the numbers they put up didn't quite match that old Warriors team, but still really got close in a lot of their wins and sort of records they set. And then, of course, in the playoffs, they were a tornado, won 4-1 in the finals. So they're returning the whole team. Everybody knows what their roles are. Despite being a title team, some of them are a little chippy still. Jason Tatum heard everything that everyone said about him during the Olympics.
They're still kind of young, by the way, except Horford.
The window is way open. This team has depth, so a guy like Porzingis not playing doesn't matter as much during this part of the season. To me, they are the heavy favorites again. And I always give credit to the champ no matter what, but in this case, I think that they have all the ingredients to repeat. The big question is always in the NBA is it's a long season. These guys played all the way through the finals last year. A bunch of them played in the Olympics this summer. And so then you have to wonder, are they going to get worn out? Knock on all the wood with health. But if there was a catastrophic injury to one of those guys, or even just an overuse injury that lingers, that could be something that sort of, derails them a little bit. But already they look so good in the preseason again. I expect them to have a great season.
So I thought the Knicks, and you do this, I think they built themselves in the offseason to face the Celtics. They got Cat for size because Porzingis is an issue. Mikal Bridges can defend. If you're facing Tatum, and the Celtics got Derek White, Tatum on the wing, you need more wings. I don't know. I don't. Listen, New York's had a bad decade of sports. I think the Dodgers will beat the Yankees. But I look at the way the Knicks are built. I think they built a roster to beat Boston, and I think it's going to be formidable.
Yeah, I mean, Jalen Brunson came out and said that. He said, we are all building to beat and chase the Celtics. So you are absolutely correct. Mikal Bridges comes in. That wing defense that he provides, along with Josh Hart, is going to be crucial against guys like Brown and Tatum and Derek White and that whole crew. So I think there's no question that they are looking to do that. And Cat, of course, gives them an offensive boost. He already has a good nickname, Colin. The corner markets and stores in New York are bodegas, and they always have those little cats hanging around looking for extra scraps or stuff. So people in New York call them bodega cats. So, of course, we now have Bodega Cat, which Josh Hart just calls him the big bodega. So chemistry is obviously going well there. The concern with them is in bringing these guys in to fortify themselves against a team like the Celtics, they traded away a lot of their depth. So this team...
DiVincenzo was a real catch-and-shoot guy last year.
100%. And just guys, you'd have guys go down. And remember during the playoffs, it was, next man up, next man up. Some of those next men aren't here anymore. So it's going to be interesting, especially with the way Tibbs plays the starters with just a few minutes to see what happens there.
So I think it's fascinating. I never understood the Rudy Gobert tandem, but it worked. Okay. Now they move off Cat, who's talented, but sometimes felt like that's not what Ant needed. So you go get Julius Randle, who is productive. He's a pro. Haven't loved him in postseason basketball. I'm fascinated to watch Ant. I don't even count Gobert on the offensive end. It's an Ant-Julius Randle offense. Julius can be a little ball dribble-centric. What do we think about? I mean, you were with Ant in Paris. I mean, how do you think it works?
I think it's going to work. I actually am very bullish on this Wolves team. I think they could easily get to the finals if things fall right for them. Anthony Edwards is such a star. We saw that last season.
Yeah.
Then he was in France with this Olympic team, and you should have seen him. He was a sponge the whole way through. That's a cliche. We say that thing all the time. But when Kevin Durant spoke, it was like God was speaking to Anthony Edwards as far as he was concerned. And you've already seen him apply some of those lessons that he picked up in Paris. He's been more vocal in huddles on the sideline during this preseason. And now we just have to see if he's willing or ready to take that extra step of just sort of the sophistication of a number one player. So we saw toward the end of the postseason, he got tired with all of that attention on him, right? Some of his decision making when the defenses were really pressing down on him wasn't at that championship level. And it was all fine because he's so young and so talented.
Yeah.
But this is the season he's got to refine some of that stuff. And Julius Randle, man, he's in a contract situation this year where he expects to perform and needs to deliver for his next deal. So I think we'll see some good things out of him too.
Yeah, he's a worker. He's productive. I like him as a player. He feels a little old school in the three-ball world, but he is productive.
Yeah.
So you spent some time last week with Klay Thompson. So I would argue, underrated is sometimes chemistry. And Klay Thompson is so chill. He may be a perfect fit with intense Luka. And I would say at times some maintenance Kyrie. Your take on the Klay fit? He's pretty chill. He doesn't need publicity.
Yep.
He's a catch and shoot. He doesn't need the ball.
Right.
It could be a good fit.
No, I mean, on paper, this is very encouraging. Personality-wise, you are absolutely right. He just fits in great with those two guys and the rhythm that they established last season with each other. And, Luka is the established alpha, Kyrie very audibly conceding to that and sort of making a point about his role on the team. And Klay fits right in with that as well. Now you have even more guys with championship experience in that team. So where they want to go and win a title, you have a guy in the voice in the locker room who can tell them how to get there. We haven't seen so far yet with Klay what we had hoped for, which is that real comfort on the court.
Right.
That is not back. But it might take a while. That's okay. And hasn't played with Luka a lot because of injury stuff. So I just think that we still have to see people who are already writing that off as like, see, it's not working there either. I think they're way early on that. I think that there's a lot of room to go with that partnership and how it's going to look. And Luka would like to win an MVP this year. That is definitely on his mind and on the table. So we'll have to see how the whole team sort of gels around him because he can't win an MVP if they're the number 6 or 7 seed. So we'll see where that goes.
All right. We only have 30 seconds. No, 90 seconds.
All right.
Alex Caruso. Hartenstein's banged up from the Knicks, but Alex Caruso is a low-level big ad for OKC.
Huge.
I think my gut feeling is they end up in the finals against Boston or the Knicks. OKC, what do we know?
I like all of your thoughts here because I think they're going to be the number 1 seed again when it's all said and done, and they absolutely could end up in the finals. They've had some playoff experience.
Caruso is a dog. He'll defend.
And he has a ring. I mean, like these guys, are ready. And Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is ready, and he wants the MVP this season and certainly could get it if the Oklahoma City Thunder progress the way that we expect them to. This is not a young, scrappy team anymore.
Yeah.
They're still young, but they're actually talented enough that you can't call them scrappy.
They added classic sort of been around the block, overachieving dudes.
Yep.
I know Hartenstein's banged up, but Oklahoma, Sam Presti's built. And they got $1 million draft picks still.
I was going to say, they could still make a big move if they wanted to. If the right guy became available before the trade deadline, they still have all the assets to do something like that. And Hartenstein, yes, it's not ideal that he starts the season, sitting out, but it'll.
Hi, everybody. It's me, Uncle Colin. Subscribe here to get the latest from the herd, including exclusive behind-the-scenes videos and more, wherever you may be, however you may be watching. Thanks again for making us part of your day.